Hey, Joe Dwyer here, and welcome back to Accountability Matters. We have had some stimulating modules along the way, and we're about to now enter our final module, which is on the very important topic of recognizing and affirming. And as we have done in just about every one, we are going to start with the accountability of recognizing and affirming ourselves. And I start with a story of mine from the fourth grade. And in the fourth grade, I, like most of my classmates, all if I remember correctly, wanted to play a musical instrument. Only in order for us to be qualified to play the musical instrument, we had to be tested both orally and written on our musical ability. At the end of this test, I was pulled aside by the teacher and told emphatically the following: you have absolutely no musical ability and you never will. I remember being like almost blown off my feet with I couldn't believe what I was hearing. And as I've told that story way too many times, it sets up the important point I want to make. I've said that story so many times that I could say it in my sleep, and therein lies the problem. This is less about what the music teacher said to me, and it's more about my own self-talk. Yes, my own self-talk was convincing over the years that I did not and would not have any musical ability, and guess what? I was right. I was right because I talked myself into believing that this would never happen. And this, my friends, is the epitome of this session on recognizing and affirming yourself, is to ruthlessly, you hear me, ruthlessly, I'm saying it again, monitor your self-talk. I can't stress it enough how important it is and how it could be damaging when we do not monitor it closely and, yes, ruthlessly on what we say about ourselves and putting ourselves down, even if it is in a comical nature, which this story, as I said, I've told it way too many times, but I've told it in a funny way. People have laughed, but the point is still the same. It's something I should have dropped a while ago. Not unlike other things I have said negative about myself, and I'm sure you have done the same. So we are starting in this very important session on recognizing and affirming, again with the accountability of self, building that foundation so then we could build up others. But we must first have a proper way of building ourselves up. And no better way than our self-talk every day. Now again, we're going to turn to our canines. It's amazing. They don't do this at all. They don't talk down about themselves ever, regardless of the situation, regardless of a handicap. We've seen three-legged dogs that just move along with no fear or any kind of issue whatsoever. We've seen dogs that have been abused that just continue on and don't put themselves down. It's amazing how resilient they can be in this all-important area. So what we need to do is turn the tide immediately. Once these thoughts come to mind, we must turn our self-talk into affirming and recognizing. For example, I could easily go through this story again, but I could stop and say, it is now up to me on whether and how much I will learn about music, and I will, regardless of this situation, or something like it, to turn the tide. That said, it is strongly related to the second topic that we will talk about, And I want to remind you about Daniel's journey through the hero dog competition in 2012. It was quite a journey. It was exciting. It was fun. And he was in the final 8 dogs with some incredibly talented dogs. And the dog that won the overall contest, Gabe, was a hero dog because he was a military dog who had this incredible ability to sniff out bombs in Iraq and Afghanistan and save many of our soldiers. A talented dog beyond belief. But I will tell you that when Daniel met him, they got along great, which I was obviously pleased. And it was like, hey, I'm Daniel, and you're Gabe. And Daniel had none of those characteristics, but he refused to compare himself to Gabe, and he refused to look at Gabe with any kind of jealousy or any kind of like, oh, you're more important than me attitude. In our society today, we have so many situations where especially our young people compare themselves to others. And when they feel they are inadequate to these others, they are put into a very poor place in recognizing and affirming themselves. It is as dangerous, if not more dangerous, than the whole issue of self-talk. Because obviously, one can cause the other. I emphasize to students when I speak to them, do not compare yourselves to others. You want to look up to others in a healthy way. You want to strive to be as good as some others at certain talents. That's fine, but there's a healthy line that you do not cross, that you feel good about who you are, what you are, and your individual talents. I clearly remember in a school system that I spoke at several years ago, going out and saying, okay, who here can throw a football as well as Eli Manning? And of course, none of them said they really could. I mean, some joked at first. And I said, is that a problem? And some of them said, yeah, sure, it's a problem. I can't do that. And I said, and you are going to continue your life, and you will be able to do things that he can't. Own and appreciate, recognize and affirm yourself, your talking about yourself, and your own individual skills, talents, and abilities, regardless of what they are. That is a level of accountability we truly need to get to. And I urge you to not only make sure you are doing this for yourself, but see the positive effects when you can and how they ripple out to others. So we are going to have an accountability action, and it is just going to be on our first discussion point today, which is to recognize and affirm a positive self-talk about yourself. And like others, we are going to progress slowly. We are going to start with the first hour of the day, and we are going to move towards a half a day of no negative self-talk. We are going to applaud ourselves for it. We're going to progress to a day, and we're going to continue on from there. For these habits must continue on and continue on with a sense of momentum. And this one, I urge you to start not tomorrow. I urge you to start it right now. With that, I've given the assignment. It's time for me to stop talking, at least any kind of further talk. It's time for me to do the same assignment, which I will share with you as we are getting near the end of this session on accountability matters. I have taken every assignment and put it onto my own shoulders, have enjoyed them, have made my own progress, and this one is no different. Peace will come over us. Productivity will go up. And yes, we will all see more dogs saved. After all, they're our teacher. Have a great day. Start that great self-talk now. Take care. I'll see you soon.